Hey, it's time for the Pool Fanatic Show. That's right, Tony Caruso, the Pool Fanatic himself, is in studio. So what you need to do is if you've got any questions about your swimming pool, if you've got stubborn stains, if your motors aren't running right, if you still have an old one-speed pump, whatever it is you've got questions about, you need to call the Pool Fanatic Show right now at 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. Orlando Luxury Pools, TC Water Features, and the Pool Fanatic Pool Service Company. Tony Caruso and a World Series Roy Hobbs. Are you really the best player there ever was, Roy Hobbs?
No,
What's
Rob.
going on?
No, I'm just competitive. How's that?
I love it.
I'm competitive in anything that I do, man. If I'm not competitive, I'm not having fun.
There you go.
Win, lose, or draw, it's all on how you play the game. Think about it. You know, there's only sometimes you are second loser, but that's the way it goes. You're first loser. This is the way it goes. Who's watching the kids today, Rob?
You know, it's been a pretty good week, I think. Now,
Well-
I've been listening to the news. I haven't heard a whole bunch of bad stuff.
No, it's actually been a pretty good week. And again, I have nothing either, and I've got nothing on my alerts. Of course, I'm kind of like Rowdy. I get updated alerts and stuff like that when they happen. And it's a sad day when we lose a loved one because of negligence, and that's basically what it boils down to: is we cannot become complacent. We talk about this all the time. There is absolutely no reason for being complacency. We realize that kids are inquisitive. Every child should be, you know. I mean, the kids are. That's why their eyes are wandering all the time. They're trying to figure out what's going on in this world. So what does that mean? They're inquisitive. They want to investigate. They want to learn. They want to do. And we as adults teach them right from wrong. We're supposed to do that. So hopefully you do a very good job of doing so. Therefore, your children grow up, be respectful in this world, because where I and you were born, Rob, not sure about Chris, because he's more than less than half our age.
That's true.
I'm not sure what generation are you?
I'm a 90s baby.
You're a 90s. So what is that? Does that put you at O or P generation? I'm only teasing. But you and I, Rob, we grew up, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, thank you, ma'am.
That's
please,
right, the baby boomers. That's right.
And teaching your kids that respect is just amazing, and that's where kids should be. My kids know that. They know how to be respectful and mindful. But you know, and that's just bringing your kids up. You know, if everybody was that polite, we'd have a happier world. We would not have these people out here that own the left lane on the highway. So, or owning the left lane of the highway with your dog in your lap. I love that too. Or doing your makeup. I love that. I saw eyeliners the other day. You know, so that's really not. That's instilled. Your parents didn't teach you very well if you're doing eyeliner driving down a road at 65 miles an hour in the moron lane.
That's right.
Okay, so that's what that boils down to. So anyhow, yeah, good week, Rob. I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot. I know where my grandkids are. I know who's watching my grandkids today. I know that for sure. They're closely knitted. Went to the movies today. We're not going to have any rain. I know it looks nappy outside, but this show is not going to be interrupted because of rain today, because there's not a lot out there. It looks like it is, but actually, all in all, pretty nice day. My son ran a 10K this morning. And he's running in the Star Wars marathon tomorrow. He's going to run a half marathon. He's all decked out. So very proud of my son. He did his 6 miles today in a little bit under an hour. So very proud of him doing that. And he'll try to do the half mile or the half marathon in a little over 2 hours. So Patrick will do it probably 2 hours. Patrick Smith, he's quite the runner. But maybe if Patrick's here, and he might want to text me, he probably does better in 2 hours. I know he can do 100 miles in 22 hours. So... yeah, that's the ultra marathon.
Wow, I don't know.
You know, so, you know, getting out, being active. I've done 6.5 miles today, and I did that probably by about 2 o'clock today. Pretty much going, that's just yard work, by the way.
It's just walking in the yard.
That's yard work today.
Wow.
Today, you know, last week I did some sampling around the yard, and because I've got oak trees, and then I don't have oak trees, and got landscaping, so I got pH ranges in my yard from about 7.5 all the way down to about 4.4, and grass don't like to grow, but in certain pH ranges, about 5.5 to 7. So I got it, you know, doing lime on one side and iron on the other side, and I got high fertilization over here and low fertilization. I'm out there as a doctor. I got a diagram of the yard going on. I'm doing flower beds because this is an acid loving plant. So, you know, I'm playing that. The yard looks great, by the way. I mean, I've got everything hedged up, pointed up, trimmed up. Now I'm good for about 3 weeks, and I got to start that all over again. So. But I've been trying to get the yard done on Friday so I can do the other yard stuff on Saturday, which is quite a bit.
Oh, nice.
And then, Sunday's baseball, cookout with the grandkids tomorrow, my son, and maybe Chris and Don will come over and from that nice marathon. So we got to go ahead. You got a question already?
I have a question for you.
All right.
Are there plants that are better around swimming pools because of all the chemicals?
Well, what I don't like to see are bushy plants that like to drop a lot of foliage. I don't like that. I don't like, actually, let's talk about that. I don't like palm trees around swimming pools at all. At all. Couple reasons why. One, they're going to, if it's in a screen enclosure, listen to this is very important. The only palm tree you could potentially put in a screen enclosure, and then after about 10 years, you're going to be cutting a hole in the roof or cutting the palm tree out. Which brings me to a couple good points. One, when the palm tree grows and outgrows the screen enclosure, one, you got to dispose of it. That's number one. Number two, they're going to drop foliage in your pool. You got a queen palm, stuff like that. They're going to drop the seeds in the pool. Your pool hates that. It's going to stain your deck. Not going to like that. Robelinis have points or thorns on them. They're going to prick you when you want to cut them and prune them. They flower. That ends up in the pool. Not good. We're adding phosphate materials to a pool. Your pool don't like phosphates. Phosphates can create algae blooms in your pool. It's going to eat your chlorine demand up. And I love this one. Bird of paradise. Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest bird of paradise you think you've ever seen?
Oh, God, I don't know.
25 feet easy.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Do you know how strong a palm tree is or a bird of paradise is when it comes to a concrete pool deck?
It'll bust right through it.
All day long. All day long. So when you plant landscaping around a swimming pool, consider what that plant's going to do. If you're doing annuals, that's one thing. Try to control your annuals. Do not get any fertilizer of any kind in your swimming pool. One, your fertilizers usually have they'll have three numbers,
Sure.
like a 10-10-10, for instance. You're going to have nitrogen, you're going to have phosphate, potash. Most phosphates are gone from fertilizers today, but you can still get them in your blooming materials. I know that because I put I got exorias, I got hydrangeas. I grow hydrangeas too, by the way. They're not really a Florida plant, but I grow them in an area. I get about 4 hours of sun. So they're kind of an acid-loving plant. I got some that'll turn pink over here. Some will turn blue because I just play with the pH a little bit. But that has phosphate in it. When you put phosphate into water, that's just actually going to turn into an algae bloom. It's going to eat your chlorine demand up. By doing so, you're going to go, well, all of a sudden I got algae, I can't get rid of it. You go to the pool supply store, he jacks you up with all the algicides, but that's not going to fix the problem, Rob. Algicides aren't going to fix phosphate problems. So and they're not going to test it for you unless you ask them to test it. So therefore, you're going to go back to the store. Hey, I went there last week. I bought all this and I got it back again. No chlorine. You're going to go that 2 or 3 times. And then I'm telling you right now, if you have an algae bloom in your pool and you are going to go, or you have a demand where your pool's turning green and you're going to go to the pool supply store, ask them to do a phosphate test. It's free. This could potentially save you $100. It's cheaper to buy a phosphate remover than it is to go out and continue to buy algicides and shock, because all that's going to happen is that phosphate's going to eat your chlorine. Okay, so all right, so let's do it this way. 1 phosphate spore today is 2 tomorrow. It's 4 the next day. It's 16 the following day, and then we start escalating beyond that. So why are you going to continue to feed a bad problem when you should just solve the problem initially? Now, this is going to go back to the algicides and the phosphate remover. Do not think you got a bargain deal when you bought a gallon of algicide for $16.
Wow.
Because you're going to reuse the whole bottle for $16. Now, if you had to spend $32 for a quart, but I only use 4 ounces, which would I rather use? A gallon of product that has 95% inert ingredient. Let's disclose what an inert ingredient is. Water.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to use a whole gallon for $16, or I'm going to buy a quart for $32, but I'm only going to use 4 ounces.
Much better buy.
Well, it's a much better buy because I'm putting less dissolved solids in my water. Same thing with a phosphate remover. Don't buy the $8 bottle. Buy the $20 bottle or the $30 bottle. You're going to use less product. It's in a higher concentration form, and it's going to do a much better job. I go to a job yesterday. I love this. This is what happens when you don't hire a professional to work on your swimming pool. Heater goes out. Customer hires and goes to the big box store, retailer, hasn't put a heater in. No bypass on the heater whatsoever. So while I'm at the pool, I'm looking at about 5 things. But one of the things I'm looking at is, one, a seriously stained finish.
Oh, no.
Loaded with copper. Copper's going to get there just a couple of ways. Way number 1 is a chelated copper aldehyde. Don't use them in your swimming pool. Your pool will stain and turn green. That's number 1. If you have old brass valves in your pool because your pool's 35 or 40 years old, I'm not disrespecting your older pool, but it's time to get in today's technology, go to a plastic valve. Or 3, you don't have a bypass on your heater. Now, that's not, there's 3 reasons you want to bypass. 1, I can put the proper amount of flow across the heater exchanger for better contact time. Okay. 2, if the heater ever goes down, I can isolate it without having turned my pool off. And 3, excuse me, if you ever had to stain treat your pool, you can't send all that through the heater. Now, so I'm trying to scratch my head. I'm going, you ever use chelated copper aldehyde in your pool? Nope. Okay, how you getting erosion out of your heater? You're either going seriously low pH in your water. How are you feeding this pool with chlorine? He goes, well, I was using that chlorinator over there. Now I put him in a skimmer and go, there you go, dude.
Yeah.
You just shot yourself in the foot. You just cost yourself. You're going to continue to cost yourself if you don't correct the problem. The problem is the chlorine tablets don't go in the basket. Here's why. That low pH chlorine, 2.9 pH value, goes through the pump, through the filter. Okay, so far. Then I go right to the heater. I am taking that low pH chlorine across that copper exchanger or copper nickel, and I'm stripping out the copper out of that, or copper nickel out of the heater. Guess where it goes? It plates to the wall of the pool.
There it is.
So therefore, there's your solution. So I did some topical tests yesterday, and it's going to be a Jack's Magic number 2 cleanup. But the copper portion is going to be a little bit harder to get out because it's been on the pool wall so long. So now I've got a consumer that knows way more than I do, Rob. I'm talking way more. I asked him, I said, Mrs. actually got up and left because she didn't want to be in the conversation. And I said, before you leave, I'm going to ask you one question. Would you go swimming in your pool? She goes, why you ask that question? I said, would you go swimming in your pool? She says, no. I said, why not? She goes, it doesn't look good. And then she goes, okay. I said, who takes care of the pool? She goes, he does. I said, okay, we're cool with that. But let's not here to get upset at Mr.
Right.
Let's tell you what you're not doing correctly. So anyhow, he's a 1 tablet a week guy in a 10, 12,000 gallon pool. He's running it directly through the skimmer into the filter and out the heater, and then boom, there he goes. But he has a chlorinator. Can't get the lid off because he hasn't changed the O-ring in it in 15 years, so he can't get it off. So now he got to disassemble it, but you can get it off. And I told him put a new O-ring in and put 3 tablets. He goes, why 3? I says, because you're missing the point here. Your wife just said she wouldn't go swimming in your pool. Do you know why she won't go swimming in your pool? It's not because it's all stained up, because I can make the stains kind of disappear. I can put the eyeballs up to the surface and make all that look disappear, but your water looks dingy. It's not polished.
Not inviting.
And what do? I'm an engineer. I said, you're an engineer, but you're not a chemist. Because I'm telling you right now, you just created about $800 worth of damage to your pool. I can guarantee you I can't get it all out, but I can make it 80% better. And she says, 80%. He goes, yeah, he's covering his rear end because if it don't all come out, you can't get upset. But I'm going, I can't get it all out because it's been there so long. It's actually bled into the cement itself, but I can extract what's on the surface. So, so anyhow, we're going on, and I'm saying, chlorine tablets. So he says the only way to sanitize your pool is with chlorine tablets. I said, you're old school, dude. You're old school. He goes, but you're my age. I said, yeah, I'm your age, but you're old school. I'm not the computer brain guy versus where Chris and you are, because you live on the computer from what you do. Chris lives on the computer for what he does. I don't. I live in the technology world. I do things a little differently. Show me once and you don't have to show me again. So I'm explaining to the guy, I said, look, chlorine on its best day, is only 66% effective. So the reason I told you to put 3 tablets in that chlorinator on a 10 or 12,000 gallon pool is because the first one is useless. It serves no purpose. It's because it's got binders in it. Binders is chalk. That's that kind of gooky looking stuff in your chlorinator or on your tile. And he goes, "Where'd you get that information?" I said, "It's free information. It's available on the website. Check out the availability. Type in trichlor. Check out the availability of chlorine. It might tell you it's 99% active and 0.1% or 1% inert, but they're not telling you that the inert is chalk binder, but it's only 66% effective or available chlorine. And that's at a pH of 7.6 and a temperature of 78 degrees, which, by the way, your pool may be about 78 degrees. Mine's a little higher because I am unscreened.
That's right.
So, but, you know, you got to get back in today's society. We got to go to break, don't we? 407-282-4911. Visit our website at TC Water Features. Like us on Facebook, where amazing things can happen in your backyard.
And they definitely do. Call Tony right now. You got a question about your pool, 844-220-0965. Where are you putting your chlorine tablets? 844-220-0965, or text us at 21232-21232. We'll be back. The Pool Fanatic Show live right here on News 96.5. All right, our phone lines are wide open. You can have a direct conversation with Tony Caruso right now at 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. You can text 21232. 21232. You've got to know how to make your pool work. And I guess the easiest way, I've been hanging around Tony now 6-7 years, I think the easiest way was to call Tony, get the Hayward people out there, and automate the whole pool.
Why not?
I mean, all you got to do is put water in it.
Yeah, I asked Larry what kind of automation. He goes, "I don't know. I go out and touch a button." I said, "Okay, that's you. You got old stew. We don't touch buttons. We talk. Pull, turn on. Oh, what speed? Oh, 55%. Okay, turn on 30." So anyhow, we were talking, I was having a conversation this morning about energy and how much energy you can save. Now, I'm pretty sure Chris and you you're not getting dividend checks in the power company this month, right?
No, they're not getting it.
No, you didn't get one?
They sent me a really big bill.
Well, you know, a really big bill? Okay.
Big bill.
Well, Rob, you know, you have to get into times where you have to lower your energy costs by becoming more energy efficient.
I should do that.
Well, you know, this conversation with this guy yesterday, I said, your power bill, even though you're only running 5 hours a day, the horsepower that your pump is, which is 2 times bigger than it needs to be, it's still $75 a month. Now, how would you like to have a $30 a month power bill, run this pump 12, 14 hours a day, have a healthier, happier swimming pool? And he goes, not possible. But I said, you're an engineer. It's easy math. Amps times volts times the runtime times 30 days times 0.001 times your cost for your kilowatt hours, generally about 14.7 cents. By the time you throw the kilowatts hour, you put all the taxes in there because the state's got to have their tax in there.
They do, yeah.
You throw it all in there, and guess where you're at? That is your math. That is undisputed. That's how the power company's going to figure your power bill out. That's exactly how that works. It's simple math. I said, well, I just did your math for you. He goes, well, that's not right. I said, okay. All right, so you're smarter than I am. That's fine. You know, look, I'm not here. You're asking me to come to you and show you what's wrong with your pool. You had about 10 items wrong. I gave you 9 of them the answer, and you didn't want to hear the 10th one. So this really isn't for me, you know. So look, I came here and I asked the guy. He goes, well, you know, I could buy it on Amazon. I said, absolutely. You go buy it on Amazon and you put it in. You put it in. And when it fails, you take it out and you send it back, and you're at the mercy of getting a new one back. Let's just hypothetically say 2 weeks. What happens to your pool for 2 weeks?
You know, not only that, Tony, but I don't know. One of my big gripes right now is, if we're buying everything online, just try to get any kind of warranty or replacement for anything you buy. It is impossible. They don't do it.
Well, check this out, Rob. I now have products that you can't buy and Chris can't buy.
There you go.
Online. And it's the Pro Series. You can't buy it. He can't buy it. Only I can buy it. So you can go out and buy all these parts and pieces you want, but you get 6 months warranty. My Pro line now has 4 years.
Wow.
Not 3, 4. Parts and labor. The other two manufacturers out there don't have that series out yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you right now, if you went out and bought an Aquarite or Aquarite Pro, you can buy them, but you ain't get what I get. It's not happening. 407-282-4911. Visit us at TC Water Features. Like us on Facebook, where amazing things can happen in your backyard.
That's right. We're going into the news, traffic, and weather bottom of the hour, but we'll be back in 5 minutes right here on News 96.5 WDBO. Any questions about your pool? Is there anything about that pool you don't understand? Does it look inviting? Are there things that you could do to further enhance your backyard? Maybe a bocce ball, maybe a batting cage, maybe an outdoor kitchen. Tony's company does all of that. But back to your swimming pool. If it kind of looks a little bit dingy, a little bit yuck, a little milky, no, it'll shine. You just got to get the right chemicals in the right way. Get Hayward, do it right. Get yourself a little Jack's Magic. Stains didn't come in a bag.
Stains
you know that?
No, they
Doggone
don't come in the bag. And I picked up a couple service jobs this week for the same exact reason. How long has this gentleman been servicing your pool? Oh, he's been doing it for about 3 years. How old's your pool? 3 years. You know what's happened to your finish in 3 years? He's ruined your finish.
Oh, great.
The stains don't come in the bag. The stains in your pool are 100% chemistry related. 100%. It's like the cure for swimming. We have a cure for drowning, right?
Called swimming.
Swimming lessons. Okay, we got that coming up April 25th at any of your local Central Florida YMCAs.
I love that.
Yes, sir. That money was donated by the Central Florida chapter of the FSPA, Florida Swimming Pool Association. 4,000 individual swim lessons. Please go. It's free. It's after school. Contact the local Y in your area. It's for 4 days.
Hey, call in your questions to Tony right now at 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. Sure, we're live today. I know you're watching basketball, but come on. Turn down the sound. Call Tony. You could text him at 21232, 21232.
All right, Rob, we finished up 5 pools this week.
Whoa!
Yeah, 5. One of them was retile, new deck. I love this one. Okay. That's a trade secret. Anyhow, I'll tell you. If you have the old concrete cantilever on your pool and you want to put brick pavers on it, do not let anybody just put the brick paver over the existing cantilever, because the bottom of the brick's going to hang off the wall about 2.5 inches at the bottom. Prime place for mold and mildew. We actually cut that overhang off.
Yeah.
So, new tile. New mini aqua pearl, bimini blue, beautiful finish. Ooh. New deck. I went in and fixed all of his screen issues, put all brand new bottom track in, new lower panels, 2 or 3 upper panels, fixed his doors for him, didn't charge him for it. Just did it for him.
Nice.
Yes, sir. Put an LED light in. Another one we're doing, new interior, new tile, salt system, LED lights. Another one we just finished is a variable speed pump, new filter. I got rid of that dinosaur DE filter because that's resistance. Put a salt system in, pH injector in, new tile, new interior, new deck. What else we got going on? We just did an interior lighting and a equipment upgrade. Another one was just an interior and pump upgrade. So how do you start paying back that interior finishes? By putting in that variable speed pool pump and trying to explain to somebody that the faster you push on the gas pedal, the more gas you use. Same thing with variable speed. But let's don't over-circulate or sanitize your pool. Let's get it done correctly. There's a precise formula for doing it. Chris over here typing away. We've got a couple calls.
Yeah, we got Rick in Bonita Springs wants to talk to you. Rick, what's going on?
Oh, he's got...
hang on. We'll get to Rick in just a second.
Yeah, there we go. We got Mans pushing the buttons over there.
Okay, Rick, we got you now. Sorry about that, Chris. Rick, go ahead in Bonita Springs.
Yeah. Hi, Tony.
How are you doing?
Good. Got a plaster pool that I had replastered maybe 7 years ago.
Okay.
And now my wife is saying, the walls of the pool aren't as bright and shiny as it used to be. The water clarity is fine.
Okay.
So I wanted to know, should I drain the pool?
No.
Yank out a pressure washer,
No.
or is there some kind of treatment I can just dump in a pool and
No.
5 minutes later?
I'm subliminally answering your question for you, Rick. Yeah. No, do not drain your swimming pool. There's no need to. So give me what color blemishes are on your wall or floors? Are they a grayish color? Are they a greenish color? A rusty color?
Yeah, rusty color. It's not on the floor, at least not that I can tell. But
okay.
It looks like weeping on the walls. It looks like long streaks of like rusty color on the walls.
Okay. And it's only on the walls? Another question, is it more prevalent where the returns, where the water actually comes back in the pool, or it's pretty much all over?
Pretty much all over. And it doesn't come off. I tried using my hand and see if it rubs off on my hand. It doesn't rub off on my hand.
Okay, so here's a question. How are you sanitizing your pool? Are you using you have a salt system, a chlorine dispenser, or a chlorine dispenser?
All Hayward, Tony. You'll be glad to hear that.
I like that. So are you using an erosion feeder, or do you have a salt system?
Salt system.
All right. Do you have a heater of any kind?
I do, but don't use it because it's kind of useless.
Okay.
I do have solar, but I've got a Hayward heat pump.
Okay.
Which I don't use at all. It doesn't because I don't use a cover, so it's kind of.
Okay. Well, here's a question for you, Rick. Do you have the ability to shut the water off from going through that heat pump?
No.
Okay.
I don't have a bypass.
Okay. So the hard part is I can tell you how to determine what the problem is, but if it's what I think it is, you'll have to put a bypass on that heat pump. You could go to one of your local retail stores down in your area and ask for a Jack's Magic topical test kit.
Okay.
Before you go there, ask them if they actually have one. And if you follow the directions on that test kit, you can solve your problem. So I'm going to give you a hint. You're telling me that the problem is on the wall, not the floors. Is that correct?
It's right. And again, Tony, it might be that because of the sun and everything like that, I can't really. It's very obvious on the walls, and again, maybe because of the depth of the pool, and I don't put a mask on to go right down to the bottom of the pool. I can't tell, but it certainly. Could be. I use a robot cleaner.
Right. All right. So I'm going to give you some help here. Since it appears the product's on the wall, not the floor, take one of your socks that you don't want to use anymore, and take some of that topical material and put it in the sock, and just hold it against the wall. 45 seconds later, you'll have an answer. You're going to get 3 bags. You're going to get a package of O2 shock, which you probably won't use. You'll get a bag of iron and cobalt. You get a bag of copper and scale. Do the iron and cobalt first. If the iron and cobalt don't work but makes the wall turn black, the iron and the number 2 or copper and scale will clean that off the wall and should take the stain off the wall. Once you've determined what the chemical to remove it is, then you can do a treatment for cleanup. But what you can't do, if it is a copper and scale cleanup, you can't run it through your heat pump because you'll strip all of the copper nickel out of your heat pump, and then you didn't gain anything. You could just cost yourself some money, or maybe the ability to take it offline and not use it anyway. But I hope that helps you, Rick. I do.
All right, very good. Let's go to Ken in Orlando. Ken, what's happening with your pool?
Hey, Tony, well, I got a leak that we can't find nowhere.
Okay.
And,
all right. So do you have a pool and spa, or just a swimming pool?
No, just the pool.
Do you have any water features, any kind of deck jets, water fountains, stuff like that?
Got a fountain.
Okay. Do you have solar?
But no solar. We got the fountain. The water cut off going to the fountain.
Okay. So on a daily or weekly basis, how much water are you putting in your pool?
I'm putting water in about every 2 to 3 days.
And how much water are you putting in your pool at that point?
Oh, it go past the skimmer. It need water. Bad.
Okay, so here's a question. If it goes past the skimmer, what's the farthest you've let that water go down before you put water in your pool?
To the skimmer.
So will it go?
Tony, if I fill it up.
Yes, sir.
And cut the motor. If I let the pool run.
Okay.
It still lose water. If I cut the motors off, it still lose water.
Okay, so now it tells me it's a static leak, not a plumbing leak. So here's a question for you, Ken. Has the water ever gone below the tile line in the pool? Have you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that kind of eliminates, doesn't exclude, it eliminates your tile and your skimmer being an issue. Now you're down to a few other penetrations. The drains on the bottom of the floor. Do you have a light in your pool, Ken?
Yes.
Okay, your light and inch, because electricians are terrible plumbers, or your edge tile. Okay, so how old is the finish in your pool, Ken? Is it a couple years old, 10 years old? Or?
We had a refinish maybe about 5 years ago.
About 5 years ago. And when did the problem start persisting again?
Here about 3 or 4 months ago.
3 or 4 months ago. Have you had a leak company come out and take a look at it yet?
No,
but
no. I was what I'm calling about.
Okay.
You recommend who the best? We had one pool company come out because those are one that service them, the motors and stuff, but they couldn't find it.
All right. Well, I can do it this way. I'm going to give you I'm going to get you a discount because you're going to tell them you heard this on the radio.
There you go.
So if I can give you the phone number, write this phone number down. Tell them you heard this on the radio, and they're going to come out and give you a discount, and they'll find your problem. That is Florida Leak Locator. Okay. Florida Leak Locator. They find leaks, they fix leaks, and that's all they do. Their phone number is 844 4 my leaks. The number 4 my MYLEAK. 844 my leak.
Okay.
You tell them that you heard this on the radio show, and they'll give you a discount, and they will find your problem, guaranteed. But I appreciate you, Ken. Call us back and tell us it's been resolved. That'd be great because water's a precious thing. Every time you put water in your pool, you got to rebalance the chemicals in your pool. Now, if he's putting in, he said 2-3 inches every couple of days.
Yeah.
That's a lot, man. That's diluting your pool. If he's doing 6 inches a week, his pool averages 3 feet on one end, 6 feet on the other. That's 9 feet. Average 4.5 feet deep. He's diluting his pool by about 20% each and every week, which means he has to go back and do all the chemicals all over. He'll never stay on top. We're going to take a break and come back to the next phone call.
We're going to take a break. We're going to talk to Debbie. We also have a text, and comes from 536. So we'll take those. We'll get them for you, and you could even join the program. We still have a little time at 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. We will be back after 3 big things you need to know.
The 3 big things you need to know.
12 refugees who flew to Italy with Pope Francis.
All right, we're back. Good job on the music right there. We've got 6 minutes to spend with the Pool Fanatic, Tony Caruso. We'll get his contact information before the show ends. Make sure you write it down. Debbie and Deltona, what's going on?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for taking my question. I have an in-ground salt pool, and I was wondering, is there anything that would help to give the interior a more, like a more brighter appearance?
Okay. Couple questions, Debbie. How old's the pool finish in your pool?
It's around 8 years old.
Okay. Is it got blotches or blemishes in it? Kind of blotchy?
Oh, I made a bad mistake. One person dropped a bobby pin in the bottom of the deep end, and I realized it was sitting there.
Got rust.
So I decided to research it, and they said, well, if you put a vitamin C in a sock and let it sit on it, it'll, work, because I couldn't figure out how to do muriatic acid.
Okay.
To get it to that end. So I think I probably ruined that little spot of the interior. Because dirt always accumulates on that one spot.
Just like I had talked to the gentleman earlier down in Bonita Springs, if you go to the pool supply store, call them before you go and ask for a Jack's Magical Topical Test Kit. And then take that and do if you got discoloration on the top step or the second step or the bench in the pool, do that area first. And then if you see it cleans up, and I'll tell you what, if your chemistry's right, it'll clean that area in 45 seconds or less.
Just sitting there, no scrubbing.
No scrubbing. Just put it on there and do it. But before you add the next product on there, whoosh that away and then get to the next product. But I can tell you what, Debbie, if you do that, you're going to determine what's on your finish, and I promise you, when you're all said and done, you will have an amazing looking pool finish back to where it was originally. There's not a lot of finishes you cannot get back to where they were originally. So give us a call back. If you get a chance to go down and do it, give us a call back and tell us what your results were. We truly appreciate it. All right, we got a text.
You do have a text.
Okay, it says, hi, Tony. Thank you. No, I'm only teasing. I was going to read some stuff. I'm only teasing. Hi, Tony. Just bought a house with a pool, learning more and more, but can't keep the skimmer suction working. Works well, but won't stay filled with water. Why? Well, you got a leak. Okay, so a lot of pools do leak around the skimmers because when the pool builders build those, they don't spend a lot of time making sure that area is sealed up properly. So I don't know if the water level goes below the skimmer. I don't know that. But if it goes down to the bottom of the tile and stops, and the problem 99% of the time is right there at the skimmer grout line, and it usually fails because of chemistry issues. Again, if you're putting chlorine tablets in your skimmer, you're eating the grout out. If you've got a floater and it gets stuck in the skimmer, you're eating the grout out. You're eating the cement up. So I don't know if it's going down, but what I would do is if you can't do a determination, if you're doing 1 or 2 inches a week, that's totally normal. We're not getting any really amountable rain. But if you're doing like the gentleman Ken said earlier, you're losing, 2 or 3 inches every couple of days, that's way, way, way excessive. I have not put 1 drop of water in my pool this year.
Really?
Not 1 drop. I've put water in my fountain because it's aerating water,
sure,
but not 1 drop in my pool.
That's
so on the text message right here, call Florida Leak Locator if you don't want to continue adding water, because water costs money. Money becomes chemicals. Chemicals become time. Their number is 844-4MY-LEAK. You tell them you heard on the radio show, they'll give you a discount. They'll give you my discount, because when people call me and want leak detection done, I say use my name. I'll get you a discount right off the bat, and they'll do a great job for you. So this week's really gone by. This is, 2.5 minutes. And guess what? We did not get interrupted by rain in Florida,
This is very true. As a matter of fact, we're being interrupted by sunshine.
Imagine that. So it never rains in Florida. No, it never rains in California. It always rains in Florida.
There you go.
So remember, if you hear lightning strikes out there, get out of the pool. Get out of the pool. You hear thunder? Guess what comes after thunder?
Lightning.
Get out.
Get out of the pool
you hear
now.
It? Vacate. The pool is always going to be there. You didn't trade it in. You didn't put it in the garage. You got to leave it be. Tomorrow is another day. Or let the storm pass and go out and swim again. If it's not thunder and lightning, I don't have an issue swimming in the rain. Not at all. But thunder and lightning, it is time to run. Rob, I'm going in my 36th year, and in another 4 months it'll be 36 years in this trade. I've been truly blessed to be in this industry. I've been obviously, I got a lot of awards this year, a lot of media coverage this year. I'm not all about the media coverage. It's nice to be recognized by my peers, but what's really a blessing is working with my family. That's wonderful to be able to do. So not a lot of people can tell you that they work with I work with my wife, I work with my sons, I work with my 3 brothers. My daughter-in-law works with it. It is a blessing to be able to work that. We've got so much cool stuff coming up. Hayward's got an awful lot of amazing things coming out. You want to get into that variable speed pool pump technology. They're awesome quad cartridge filters, their salt systems, their pH injectors, their LED lights, their heat pumps, their heaters, their automatic pool cleaners, the salt systems, pH injectors, automated panels. We've got panels from about $1,200 to $5,000. How far in advance, how much technology you want. But what I do know, we just picked this up the other day. Hayward come out with their new tabletop wireless controller. It looks like my phone.
Oh, how cool.
It is just not a bunch of text messages with digital lights. It is actually a display screen. We ordered it. It came in. First customer gets it on Monday. What a week. Coming back next week.
Outstanding.
407-282-4911. That is tcwaterfeatures.com. Like us on Facebook, where amazing things can happen in your backyard. We'll be back next week. Be safe.